All right. Welcome to episode 2 of the Bearcast. I'm your host, Paul Yun, and I just want to say thank you again for watching this show. I really appreciate it. And before I get started with the topics today, make sure you subscribe, you hit the notification bell so you always catch up and you're caught up to the speed. So let's get into it. First things first, let's talk about the NFC and AFC Championship games. Yes, they finally happened. And both were pretty interesting. And so let's talk about the AFC Championship game first. It was the Baltimore Ravens playing against the Kansas City Chiefs, and the Kansas City Chiefs won 17-10. The Chiefs are going to the Super Bowl. It's interesting, but I want to give credit where credit's due. They won. I think they won very fair and square, and they did a really good job doing it too. I was very shocked. In the sense of how Patrick Mahomes played with the receivers. I thought the receivers were not going to do well, and the receivers really showed up, especially Rashid Rice, which he did really well. And I also want to give credit where credit's due with the big boys in the run game. Isaiah Pacheco, baby. Isaiah Pacheco. My goodness, he had a hell of a game, but I'll get more into that. Lamar, he also choked. Lamar Jackson choked. He had a lost fumble. That was a strip sack. That was really interesting. And he had one interception and threw it into triple coverage. Also, there was some other interesting stuff, but Zay Flowers, he had a taunting penalty and he lost the ball when he was about to score. So there's that. And then, also the Baltimore Ravens ran it 6 times. Their identity is running the ball. So that was interesting. But overall, my opinion about this is the Ravens choked. They choked as a team. I put a third of the blame. I put all the blame on the offense, but I put a third of the blame on Lamar. Put a third of the blame on Zay Flowers, and I put a third of the blame on Todd Monken, who is the OC. They only ran it 6 times. Lamar, I felt like could have played a lot better this game, and he didn't show up, and it was very disappointing. It was actually very disappointing. So I was very shocked about that. I was very shocked about that, and then besides that, that's it. I think like the Ravens will come back. I think they're going to compete. They always do. But Lamar's time is ticking, so they need to find a way to get it done. And what's interesting about this game is that the Chiefs were kind of beefing with the Ravens. Justin Tucker, he actually had he was warming up. So this was before the game. He was warming up, and Patrick Mahomes was also warming up, and Justin Tucker likes being there, and he was kicking his field goals, getting warmed up, and Patrick Mahomes was like, "Hey," and because he put his helmet right next to him, and Patrick Mahomes was throwing right there, and Patrick Mahomes was like, "Hey, I'm throwing here. Can you move?" And he did a little bit, but Travis Kelsey didn't like it at all. So what Travis Kelsey did, he grabbed Justin Tucker's helmet, and Justin Tucker is like the greatest kicker of all time. Grabbed his little kicking thing, and throw it. Just throw it. I looked at that, I'm like, wow, wow, like we're really getting spicy. And a lot of people did not like it. A lot of people think Travis Kelsey's a dick. It's interesting. I just find it interesting how all that goes down. But I'm gonna give credit's due. Travis Kelsey played a good game. The defense played a good game. I was also very surprised with Willie Snead. Willie Snead really punched the ball out of Zay Flowers, and Zay Flowers had a bad game. I don't care what people say about him, about like, oh, he's a rookie. No, no, we're not gonna give him any sympathy. Like, let's be real. Zay Flowers cost the Ravens the game. Like, if I had to say one person, it would have been Zay Flowers. Yeah, because Lamar put them in their places, put them in places where they could win. But I will say Lamar choked. He did, and I'll call it what it is. But Zay Flowers had an opportunity to score, dove the ball. Willie Snead punched the ball out. You shouldn't need to do that. Why are you doing that? You trying to be like Clark Kent? No. No, bruh. Stay in your lane. You know what I mean? Just do your job. When someone does their job well, it's good. It's good. But I also think, too, Lamar didn't play well. Todd Monken should have ran the ball more. That I was very disappointed about. And then also with that unsportsmanlike conduct, I don't care what people say. Well, it should have been an unsportsmanlike conduct. It's a soft call. The ref threw the flag. Why are we getting mad about that? Why are we getting mad about that? I just think it's ridiculous. I really think it's ridiculous that this is happening like that. So, yeah, yeah, but I will give credit where credit's due. Patrick Mahomes played great. Defense played great. Travis Kelsey played great. But I was very impressed with Isaiah Pacheco. Isaiah Pacheco is super underrated. I was just blown away. I think his performance within itself, he took he took that Ravens defense and they did a great job. The Ravens defense was easily the best part of the Ravens that game because even though they gave up a lot of points in the first half, they gave up very, very few points in the second half. They had an opportunity to win. They only gave up 3 points. 3 points, people. And that defensive coordinator, we'll talk more about him, but I loved how he played. I loved how he was coaching and all that. But the offense was just not going. But anyways, Pacheco in that first half, he took that Ravens defense by storm. Took it by storm. He said, "Let me carry it," because I remember the first play they were running the ball. I knew they were going to run the ball first thing. The receivers aren't as great, but man, Pacheco was like, "I'm going to go in. I'm going to run 5 yards." That is not an easy feat against that team. And Pacheco put me on notice because I think he did really, really well. But I just think he's not getting not enough love. I was just very surprised. I was watching First Take. I was watching all these sports shows. And they're like, yeah, Patrick Mahomes is great. He's probably going to pass Joe Montana. Which I mean, yeah, that's fair. But Pacheco, we need to put him on notice because this dude can run. Like I've seen him and he's had good games against the Eagles and all that. That dude can run. And he took that defense and just ran with it. Like you see certain guys, like, and you're just like, oh, that dude's a baller now. Like that's what I saw with Pacheco. I'm like, okay, this dude's legit. This dude is legit. So yeah, Chiefs are going to the Super Bowl. If you like Taylor Swift, you're going to get a lot more of her. So it's going to be interesting. Next, let's move on to the NFC. Who are the Chiefs going to play? Well, it's the San Francisco 49ers. The San Francisco 49ers beat the Detroit Lions 34-31. However, the Detroit Lions fumbled the bag, people. Kirk Cousins 2.0, a.k.a. Brock Purdy, finds a way to win. But the Lions were up 24-7, everyone. 24-7. 24-7. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? And you're just going to fumble it like that? That's, in my opinion, I think that's the worst fumble in NFL history. Yeah, you can say the Atlanta Falcons, they fumbled the bag, but they played against the greatest quarterback of all time, which is Tom Brady. Tom Brady, everyone. And we're just not going to... They lost to a Kirk Cousins wannabe. That's how I saw it. Brock Purdy is nothing really special. Brandon Ayuk, though, Deebo Samuels, Christian McCaffrey, those guys are special. They are special. But man, I don't get it. How in the world, and I consider Brock Purdy as the luckiest NFL player in the league. Dude just throws a play-action haymaker. Haymaker, everyone. He overthrows it. Not a good look. It was going to be a pick. However, it wasn't a pick. It hits the defender right in the face, and Ayuk just catches it. I'm looking at it like, what? How the hell are you doing this? I find it absolutely crazy. Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. Brock Purdy, even though he threw a touchdown and interception and 267 yards and all that, I will say, I'll give credit where credit is due, and Brock Purdy did play his best game with the Lions. And the reason why I say that is because he used his legs. Detroit could not have found a way to stop Brock Purdy running. That I was shocked about. They could not have put a spy, and that spy didn't do great. Now, we'll give credit where credit's due. The offense coordinator, he played a hell of a game. He coached a hell of a game. He made great adjustments and said, all right, let's go one-on-one, open tackling. Detroit sucks at open tackling. Debo Samuel's like, get away. I got this. What? Why are you letting a one-on-one? And I get it. It's Debo Samuel. Debo Samuel is a specially built wide receiver. Like, I consider him as a top 5 wide receiver right now. But how are you going to let that man just body you like that? He bodied Detroit. I don't get it. I don't get it. And you're up 24-7. You couldn't find a way to score. I will admit, Jahmyr Gibbs also had a bad play with the fumble and all that, but still, Dan Campbell also had other opportunities to score points, but he's like, you know what? No, we're going to trust it in Josh Reynolds. And Josh Reynolds played like Kadarius Toney, people. Kadarius Toney sucks, and he's probably going to be working at Burger King next year. Well, oh my, Josh Reynolds, why are you doing this? Like, if I'm Detroit, I'm going to spend some capital on receivers, maybe get Troy Franklin, because Josh Reynolds is not going to be your number 2. St. Brown's a baller. He's a baller. But they need someone else, too. Just saying. But oh gosh, that game was brutal to watch. And I mean, as a Seahawks fan, I'm just like, Detroit could have beaten this team, but they fumbled the bag. And I mean, I will give props to them. I'll give props to the coordinator. I'll give props to Brock Purdy. He actually played a decent game. And I'm not trying to say Kirk Cousins 2.0 is a bad nickname. I just think that he's overrated. I think Brock Purdy is overrated. I think that his team with Trent Williams, Christian McCaffrey, Brandon Ayuk, Debo Samuel, even George Kittle. George Kittle is the second best tight end in the league, in my opinion. It's Travis Kelce, George Kittle, and then Mark Andrews is number 3. I just don't get it. How you're up 24-7 against the best team and you're not going to finish it. And I get it. It's the NFL. NFL is a completely different breed compared to college football. But still, you got to finish the job, man. But I was still shocked by it. Wasn't really too happy about it. But speaking of coaches, and I know that the OC, Ben Johnson, he had a good start and kind of flailed out at the end. He's staying in Detroit. So people don't know there's a lot of coaching changes and coaching carousel going on. And Ben Johnson decided he was a top candidate. He was very good this year. I personally thought he was one of the best additions to Detroit. And he had opportunities to go coach, but he decided, you know what, I'm going to stay. And, I'm going to give him props where props due. He deserves it. I mean, I think I get it. I get it why. I get it why that all that's happening. I mean, you got to finish the job. And so I understand it. But let's also talk about other coaches. Mike McDonald is now officially the new coach of the Seattle Seahawks. And as a Seahawks fan, I love this. I love this. I think this was easily the best decision that Seattle made in a while. Mike, if people don't know, he was the defensive coordinator for the Baltimore Ravens, and we saw what he did against the Chiefs offense. He knows how to change. He knows how to make those adjustments. Pete Carroll didn't really do that those last couple of years. I mean, yeah, he had his guys, but it's not the same, though. It's not. And so I was very, very happy with this. I personally thought we weren't going to get him. I thought we were going to get Vrabel. Vrabel did not get a job, which I was very shocked about. But we signed him to a 6-year deal. I think it's a good deal. He's also now the youngest coach in the NFL, and I think we do need to go younger just because of just new energy and just how the NFL is trending now with there's a lot more PFF people becoming offensive coordinators. Bobby Slowick was also mentioned as a head coach. He was a PFF guy before becoming the OC for the Texans, and he's doing absolutely well. So I'm very happy about this. I think it's a great move by us. We need that young energy, and I think he's going to bring in some Baltimore guys. I'm really hoping he brings in Patrick Queen. If we can get Patrick Queen to the Seahawks, I'm going to love that because we're going to have some personnel issues. I mean, I know we're definitely going to need some secondary help. I think Jamal Adams is not going to cut it. Quandre Diggs is starting to get old, so we're going to have to find a replacement for him. And we're going to have some linebacking issues because Bobby Wagner's probably going to be retiring here soon within the next 3 to 5 years. So, honestly, we're going to have to start getting younger, and I think he's going to bring in a new energy that I think Seattle's going to really, really like. And He's had a great defense this year, and I think his resume speaks out. So I'm very happy about that. It was either probably going to be him or Dan Quinn we get. And I'm glad we did not get Dan Quinn because now Dan Quinn is officially a Commander. And I don't get this move. I really don't. It was confirmed as of yesterday. He's now the new head coach of the Washington Commanders. And for a new organization that got rid of Dan Snyder, I'm gonna call it what it is. I don't like this decision. I don't like this decision. I think I'm not discrediting his coaching accolades. He's done what he needs to do, and I think he can be a head coach in the league. But I think that Eric Bieniemy was still there for the taking, and I think they needed to go more offensive minded. He was the offensive coordinator for the Kansas City Chiefs, and he was also the offensive coordinator for the Commanders. So he already had business ties to it. And so I was just looking at it, and I'm like, yeah, he was there for the taking. I know he's a smart mind now. He's no scrub. He's no scrub. And yeah, I was kind of shocked, but I mean, I hope they can find a way to get the offense coordinator and the quarterback because this is a very big year for the Commanders. They need to get this quarterback right. If that means trading up to get Caleb Williams, they need to do it. If they need to get Jaden Daniels, or they need to get someone that's going to excite the fan base. This fan base has been struggling for years. Trust me. One of my best friends is a Commanders fan. He always tells me that the pain is real. The pain is real. So, like, I can sympathize a little bit. And it's just like, man. But I hope they can figure this out. I really hope they do. But I have my questions about Dan Quinn, but I know he's got the coaching jobs, but it would not have been my first choice. But we'll see what happens. And lastly, with all this coaching change, guess who did not get a job out of all this? Mike Vrabel, Bill Belichick, and Pete Carroll. Two are the oldest coaches in the NFL before they left or got resigned or whatever. But honestly, this is not shocking. I think that the NFL is going more with younger direction. And Bill, I've heard a lot of things that Bill's very his way or the highway, so it makes sense why. And he also wants that GM control, which I think is, he should not have that control. I mean, yeah, he selected Gonzo, and Gonzo's a great player, but he's only had one Pro Bowler in the. He knows how to coach a defense, but offensively, that that's a different story. That's a different story. I think he is not great offensively, but defensively, he can coach the heck out of a defense. So I think that I was very, very shocked about that. And you know what? I get it. I get it. Carroll, I get it on that one. And then Vrabel was the one that was most shocking to me because honestly, Tennessee let him down. It was not. I did not think that Vrabel was a bad coach, and I thought he was going to get picked up by someone. He hasn't been picked up, and we'll see what happens. But honestly, he's probably going to get all the three of them are probably going to get analyst roles. Probably watch film saying, "Hey, it's what you can do." Try to at least stay in the loop because when we go to next year, when we have that new coaching carousel, they're going to be hot topics, especially Bill Belichick. Because Bill Belichick is probably the greatest coach of all time, the greatest coach that I've ever seen. So, yeah. And we'll see what happens, but I'm rooting for all three of them to get a head coaching spot, especially Mike Vrabel. I think that his style, I really like his style, and he knows how to coach. He took the Tennessee Titans to like the AFC Championship game. I don't get it why that stuff came to be, but oh well. I mean, it is what it is. And quickly before I move on to my next topic, there are some other hiring slash possible rumors going around, and I'll give you my quick takes on them. Cliff Kingsbury, if people don't know him, he was the quarterbacks coach for USC. He is now officially the new offensive coordinator for the Las Vegas Raiders. I think it's a good move, and if they want to get Caleb Williams, they got some power now. I think it's a great move. Vic Fangio, was previously the defense coordinator for the Miami Dolphins. He is now the new defense coordinator for the Philly Eagles. I've heard reports that he's not a great person, but I know he can coach. So we'll see what happens. Philly, I think they got more than defensive issue, like defensive coaching issues. I think they actually have some personnel issues they need to fix, especially in the back end. But we'll see on that. Um, Chris Shula, aka Don Shula's grandson, has been promoted from as the pass rushing coordinator and the linebackers coach from the LA Rams to now becoming the defensive coordinator for the LA Rams. And you know what? I think this was a great hiring for the Rams. I think that Shula, as when I watched him and his pressures, especially against Seattle, he knows what he's doing. He's carving it up. Yeah, you could say it's a little bit of a in-house hiring, nepotism, all that. But he's earned his chops. I really think he's earned his chops. So I'm very excited for him. We'll see what happens on it, but I'm hoping he does good, and I think he's going to do well. So yeah, and also our favorite legend himself, Brandon Staley, is getting an interview with the Miami Dolphins for the new defensive coordinator spot. Yeah, I don't know if that would be a good option. I don't know if that would be a good option. But that's me. That's just me. Brandon Staley, eh. I don't know why people would hire him. but that's just me. Now let's move on a little bit with some basketball, and then we'll call it a day. But as you can see, there's been a lot more scoring in the NBA now. Joel Embiid. Oh my gosh. Hope he gets a speedy recovery, by the way. He had a terrible injury the other day, and it's going to be a long time. I was rooting for him to get the MVP. Dang. But he had a 70-point game. The big man from the Philadelphia 76ers got 70 points, 10 rebounds, and 5 assists. That's the first time since Wilt Chamberlain. That's the first time for a big man since Wilt has done it. That's an impressive feat. And Wilt has scored 100 points. Something to be said there. Luka Doncic had 73 points against the Atlanta Hawks. That's amazing. That's amazing there. And Devin Booker and Karl Anthony Towns both had 62 points. And what's ironic is that the Joel Embiid and Karl Anthony Towns score those big scoring nights happened the same night, and Devin Booker and Luka Doncic that also happened in the same night. So it's very impressive, but there's been a growing concern in the NBA of just talent, of just the defense and all that. And so why that's happening, and what's funny is that I'm actually going to go look this up, but I found an interesting stat saying how an NBA team averages over 115. That's the average. The average defense gives up over 115 points a game, people. A game! Not a half, not a quarter, not a game. Crazy. Crazy indeed. But I find it interesting because last season it was at 114 and it's going up every single year. Yeah, it's up over. So I have it up and I'm citing the AP AP News, but scoring up less than over 1%. 1% over last season. And they're scoring over 100 points a game. And NBA's like, hey, it is what it is. We'll let them go. But it's ruining the quality of the games. You know why? Because of their softness. They are letting all of these so many fouls. And I'm also going to say it, but they're also hiring the wrong people as refs. The refs they put themselves in these situations, refs, especially Chris Paul and that one ref, I'm blanking on his name, but they always get into it and he'll just throw technicals and just throw them out of the game. See, like that, I don't get that. And the other day, I'm just scrolling through my Instagram, bear being bear. I see Max Strauss giving the ball to a female ref. Yeah, they have female refs in the NBA. She gave him a technical foul for that. Why are we getting so soft? I don't get why that people, and I think this is a societal problem. I think people, and I think it's a societal problem everywhere, whether it's politics, cancel culture, all of that. I think that people get too entangled with their feelings and they feel emboldened, like, well, I'm going to do this for this. And they're just letting all of this stuff, like whether it's with, like, oh, he literally touched me, that's a foul, or they lean in. Like there should be more offensive fouls than defensive fouls because the NBA, they're going to say, oh, well, offense is better than defense. Some of the best games that I've watched are defensive juggernaut battles. Like, why are we going to more of this offensive trend? It's just, I don't get it. I don't get it. I really don't. And I mean, yeah, it's also happening too in the NFL and baseball, but it's just, I think basketball, there needs to be some sort of change. And they've let a lot of these fouls that happened in the 1980s and 1990s, those are now considered like technical fouls. So I don't get it, and I think the NBA needs to revert back to more defensive. They need to be more defensive friendly because the offense games, they're going to be like arcade games. Soon enough, it's going to be 200 points. There's going to be a team that's going to score 200 points. Watch. It's probably going to be within the next decade. But yeah, and it's just interesting. But lastly, before we get on to some stuff, but BYU in Texas. If you not see the game, it's college basketball. It was a pretty good game. BYU is actually doing really good this year in college basketball. They won. Yeah, they won the game, but there was a group of students that were just going, they're doing their thing. They're doing their thing. And it was a couple of students, and they are going, they're wearing the shirts, the whole entire spiel. And it goes, they literally had it goes from H all the way there. And people don't know this is sign of Hook'em Horns. The Hook'em Horns is a very, very popular sign. It's very big in Texas. They had the horns down. So the t-shirt said horns down, with just one letter all the way up to the end where the horns down is sticking down like this. And the BYU administration, not Texas, BYU told them you got to take off your shirt after the first media timeout, which they obliged and all that. But and the reason why I brought this up is because I think that we have a problem in society where people are too offended by everything. Trust me, it's like our politicians. Everyone has conditioned us to be like this way, and I don't know why. I will say I do understand that things can go out of bounds. And I respect that. I really do. I mean, fans can be ruthless. People have told me you suck, all of those things. All of those things. But I think that what I come down to is freedom of speech and freedom of expression. And this feels very much like the Barbara Streisand effect. If you don't know that, please look it up. But it's like she got mad with some stuff, and so she sued and she lost, and she amplified things bigger than what it should have been. BYU, that administration, amplified things way bigger than it should have been. Yes, I understand that a lot of Texas people don't like it, but I think it's stupid. I mean, the head coach, he was mad about it last week with UCF because they did that to his face. Why get mad over that? And then on top of it, there's also been other comments too with star running back from the Falcons, Bijan Robinson, saying that there should be consequences for people if they do the horns down. Like, why is that a problem when there's certain things? Like, it's like same thing with like dubs down. It's like it's just a sign. Like, if someone came up to me or like had an Oregon sign saying, "Oh, Rick the O," I'd be like, okay, well, why does that affect you so much as a person? Where we're like, this thing offends me. We need to get rid of it. Even though freedom of expression and freedom of speech can be ugly. Trust me, it can get very ugly. People should be allowed to say what they need to say or express the things that they need to say. Yeah, you might not like it, but I say you also got to grow some skin. And I think, and honestly, and I have friends on both sides. I have friends from UW. I have friends from Wazoo. When my team loses, oh, they come after me. They come after me. Take it. I'm like, you know what? There's more to it than just putting these stupid signs down or hook 'em horns down. I just find it ridiculous. And also, too, in the Big 12, if you do that, that's a 15-yard penalty. Why are we conditioning our kids to be soft? I don't get that. And I think it's a huge problem in society, but becoming a bleeding effect in sports. And you made something bigger than it should have been. But I just wanted to say that. And before I go, I wanted just to say my question of the week. I have my notes down, and this is from. So again, I said this last week on my Instagram page. If you don't know, um, at the end of the show, I want to just have one question. One person answers a question. I'll take that question. I'll answer it, and then we'll just do that every week, every Friday. So this is from Luke Basso from Eugene, Oregon, and he says, "What does your daily routine look like?" I wake up in the morning, get a little bit of protein in me, and then I go straight to weights. It's a workout. I have to work out every single day. The only times we get off are on the weekends. But I do that. Then I go to school. Taking some interesting classes right now. I like it. And then do that, get some dinner, talk to some friends, go back to my place, shower up, watch some TV. Usually love watching SpongeBob. You can never go wrong with it. And then after that, hit disease, and then we're back to it again. But yeah, thank you again. If you liked what you saw today, please subscribe, do what you need to do. Make sure you hit the notification bell. I'll see you again next Friday. I'm going to try to do this every single Friday. All right, everyone. Have a blessed day and stay smooth, everyone.